And welcome back. We are getting our first look at the devastation caused by a cyclone that ripped through the Solomon Islands. Not much is left of the area after Cyclone Zoe barreled through with 186-mile-per-hour winds. Marguerite McKinnon has more.
It's taken 4 days for the world to see the damage. Cameraman Geoff Mackley became the first person to fly over the remote Tikopia Island since it was hit by over 300 km/h winds from Cyclone Zoe.
The scene as I flew over the island was one of utter devastation.
Unable to land, these pictures show no signs of life, although Mr Mackley says he saw some people signalling for help. The Category 5 cyclone, more powerful than Cyclone Tracy, knocked out all communications and may have wiped out entire villages.
I've seen a lot of storm damage before, and this was the worst damage I've ever seen from a cyclone. And in fact, I think this is probably the most powerful cyclone that I've ever heard of.
The Australian Air Force is sending an Orion to assess damage and provide assistance. It's unknown if holidaying Australians were caught up in the disaster. Other countries have also offered to assist, but help may take days or weeks to reach devastated communities. Marguerite McKinnon, 7 News.
You're watching First Outlook on the Weather Channel.
Residents of the Solomon Islands brought in the new year by repairing their homes from the damage of Cyclone Zoe. Winds reportedly reached more than 200 miles per hour over these islands and destroyed some buildings. Communications with the island were restored yesterday.
Tonight on 3 News, the first view of the devastation caused by Cyclone Zoe. We have exclusive pictures.
This is 3 News with Hilary Barry and Stephen Parker.
Kia ora, good evening. The first signs of life today on one of the cyclone-devastated islands in the Solomons. Nothing had been heard from the island's 3,000 inhabitants since Cyclone Zoe swept through last weekend. Today, 3 News cameraman Geoff Mackley was the first person to fly into the cyclone-ravaged area.
The first glimpse of remote Tikopia Island since it was lashed by Cyclone Zoe last weekend. These exclusive pictures were taken by 3 News cameraman Geoff Mackley, the first person to fly over the island since all communications were wiped out by the winds of more than 300 kilometres an hour.
The scene as I flew over the island was one of utter devastation. I've seen a lot of storm damage before, and this was the worst damage I've ever seen from a cyclone. And in fact, I think this is probably the most powerful cyclone that I've ever heard of.
Mackley says Tikopia would have been in the eye wall of Cyclone Zoe and believes it'll be a miracle if the death and injury toll is not large. It's believed a New Zealand diver may have been on Tikopia when the cyclone struck.
There's a possibility that there could be a New Zealand diver up there, but we haven't been able to confirm that yet. Either way, of course, you know, the island and the people that live up there permanently are going to need some assistance.
Mackley made the 320-kilometre flight from Vanuatu to Tikopia today in a chartered single-engine Cessna plane, stopping at a small island on the way to refuel. The cyclone is believed to have been strong enough to flatten any buildings. Mackley says there was little sign of the island's 1,300 residents. An Australian Air Force Orion is expected to fly over the islands later today. New Zealand is awaiting reports from the area and will then offer assistance.
Given the impact and given the inability of the Honiara government to do much about it, while I'm not prejudging it, I would think that it's highly likely that we will be putting in some significant assistance there.
That assistance may take days, even weeks, to arrive at these islands that are among the most remote in the world. A boat due to leave for the area has now been delayed. This after the bankrupt Solomons government had to ask Australia to pay for fuel for the journey. Bob McNeil, 3 News.
Okay. Well done.
when we're fueled up, what are we, just tell me what we're up to then.
Heading for Tikopia.
And that'll be a fair way out.
Yeah, probably about, over the wind behind us, should be about just a skerrick over an hour.
And is that kind of a long way over water for a chopper, or?
Oh, in this neck of the woods it's quite common, but it's uncivilisation, it's not common.